And I will be posting that recording on the DALMAC website, and it will eventually appear on YouTube. So you can go back and review this. And we will have additional uh, webinars coming up every month until we take off on the ride in at the end of August. So I am still got a couple of people coming in. Really good turnout tonight. Thank you very much. Well, let's begin. My name is Dan Stockwell. I'm the director of the DALMAC. This is my third year as the director of the DALMAC. I'm very happy to do it. It's a labor of love. I'm retired, and it's what I do now is run this bike tour along with Mr. Harrington, who you see with us tonight. Very happy to have you here. Well, let's jump right into it here and talk about what is DALMAC. And this presentation for some of you may be a review, but this is the introduction to DALMAC, why it exists, what it's for, and some details about what the ride's like and how things will happen on the road and so on. So this is perfect for people who are first-time DALMAC riders or folks who have not yet decided to ride but are interested in doing so. So I'll pause once in a while to admit new people to the call, but let me get started. So DALMAC is one of the oldest and most affordable bicycle tours in the country. It is 54 years old. This is the 2025 is the 54th year of running of this amazing tour. It is all volunteer run. We do not have any paid staff at all. Every one of our volunteers works because they love this ride. Pat has been a volunteer for very many years, and I too have been a volunteer for now 5 years, and I've ridden the ride a bunch of times. So the reason that DALMAC got started was at the request, I guess, of Dick Allen, who was a Michigan State representative, who believed that bicycles and cars should be able to coexist on Michigan's roads. And to prove that, he decided that he was going to put together a group of a few folks and see if they could ride from here in Lansing, the state capital, all the way up to Mackinac City. And sure enough, they did it. And what's really amazing is that we have some volunteers and some friends on the tour who were on that very first ride in 1971. So that's kind of amazing. And with any luck, you'll meet some of those folks while you're on the tour. They're very interesting to talk to. One of the important things about DALMAC is that the proceeds, because we don't profit in any way from this tour, but the money that we raise as a result of revenue over expenses is given to the Tri-County Bicycle Association, which is our sponsoring organization, and also to the DALMAC Fund. The DALMAC Fund has given out more than $1.8 million since its inception, and those funds go to help all kinds of bicycle projects, some bicycle infrastructure, bicycle programming, and lots of other things related to bicycling safety in the state of Michigan. The Tri-County Bike Association is a large association here in the Lansing area, and we sponsor many rides. It's a recreational social club, and we have this ride, the DALMAC, and we also run the Summer Tour and the Northwest Tour. But DALMAC is a very important ride. It's recognized really throughout the community as a premier ride among all the DALMAC or all the bicycle tours that occur in Michigan, and in fact around the world. We have international participants. We have people that come from as far away as Washington State who will be joining us on the tour. Let's talk a little bit about what the ride's about, what you can expect. We have on all routes, what you get for your money that you pay for the DALMAC is overnight camping with restrooms and showers at every stop, dinner every night, breakfast the next morning. We have SAG support teams that provide rider support on the road. So if you have trouble, we're there to help. We have a cookie stop. We're kind of famous for our cookies that we give out on the tour, and we generally are out of cookies by the end of the tour. We very carefully curate the roads that we ride on. They're mostly quiet country roads. we pay a lot of attention to making sure these are great roads and ones that you're going to be comfortable riding on. We provide return transportation of your bicycle to your starting point. So we have trucks, we rent a fleet of trucks and we carry your bicycles back. We carry your luggage every night from the previous nights, starting at the pavilions at Michigan State University up to every campsite. We carry all of your bags. We provide bicycle mechanics that are on the road and in camp every night. And they do not charge labor. They charge only for parts because we pay for these folks. Tips are appreciated if you use these guys. We do also offer private rider support with meals. If you have a private SAG or a private rider support person that wants to come along, they can select to receive meals right along with you, and the price is the same as the rider, or $20 if they're not going to eat the meals per vehicle, plus $20 per person in the vehicle. We also facilitate some optional fee-based services, return bus transportation, including a box lunch, and that's $100 per person that brings you from Mackinac City back to your starting point. You can camp at Michigan State University the night before the ride and the night after the ride for $30 per night. We also have the Padres Cycle In camping services. These folks are fantastic. If, like me, I don't really feel like stuffing a wet tent into a bag before I start riding in the morning. So Padres provides all of that. They provide a tent. They provide an air mattress. They set everything up for you. They carry your bags. They deliver your bags to your tent. It's a wonderful service, and if that's an optional fee service that I would highly recommend you look at. We also provide massage services by Creative Wellness. That is fee-based, but these folks are very busy, as you can imagine, on every route. They set up their massage tables at the camping sites, and they get a lot of folks coming in to enjoy a massage at the end of a good ride. Let's talk a little bit about the routes that we have. We've got, this year, we've got a total of 8 routes, which is kind of a lot, but we've got a little bit of something for everybody. We have the 5-day West route, which is kind of the old traditional route of DALMAC that starts at the Michigan State University Pavilion, and we ride through a variety of terrain on our way up to Mackinac City. The first day we go to Vestaburg High School, and you can read them there, and Northern Michigan Christian School, Kalkaska Community Center, Petoskey High School, and finally Mackinac City High School, and you can see the mileage associated there. The different miles are for some of the alternate routes that you can take. Up in this area of the state where you see the green line and the red line, that's an area that's particularly hilly, and some folks decide they're going to take an alternate route around that and make it a little bit of an easier day. That's why we see 2 different miles. The cost for this route is $420 per person for all the things that I mentioned that you receive. The registration closes on July 31st, and the last date to order DALMAC gear, jerseys, and caps, and so on is June 22nd. Our other and second most popular ride is the 5-day East. The 5-day East begins again at the Michigan State Pavilion. We have different schools. The terrain on this ride is a little bit smoother. It's a ride that's very popular with families because it is a bit easier. The terrain isn't quite as challenging. You're still going to have a great time. You're still going to see a lot of amazing scenery, but you can see the mileages are a bit shorter. But that is a popular route. You're joined on that route by some of our gravel riders, and I'll talk more about our gravel options here in just a second. Again, this one is $420 with the same dates. The gravel route that I'll describe here in a moment is a very flexible way that we handle this. If you register for a 5-day East and you're a gravel rider, you can ride our defined gravel route that we have being prepared for us right now. Or if you want to ride a day of gravel and take a day off and ride pavement, you can do that. You can mix and match between gravel and the paved routes. So that gives a lot of flexibility if you're interested in doing that. And I know a number of riders like this because it does provide some flexibility if you want to not spend the whole time on gravel, you can do that. And when you get up north, you can then ride the trail. because up north, beginning just north of Grayling, you can get on the trails up there and ride those trails as well for the remainder of the tour. We also this year, we every 5 years, we offer a century route, and this year we are offering a century route. Again, begins at the MSU Pavilion, and this is a challenging route. If you're a century rider, this one is for you. We will again, we provide all the support that is required for riders on the SAG drivers, and the cookie stops and everything else is all here on this route. Again, this one is the same price, $420 for the 5 days, all inclusive. It's a bit of an interesting thing because from on Wednesday, the routes go to Alma College, and when you get there, you spend the night in Alma. But then, if you're on the Century, you go and ride in a great big circle for 100 miles, and then you end up in Vestaburg, which is just basically 13 miles from Alma. So it's kind of an interesting route, but it's really part of the way that the 100 miles gets put into the tour. We also have, as I mentioned, the 5-day gravel. We use the same schools, the same overnight locations as the 5-day East, and you can see the mileages there. We have really upped our game with the gravel. If you're a gravel rider, you're going to love this route. I have a team of volunteers this year who are doing a close examination of this entire gravel route. We're going to have dedicated nutrition and water stops, as well as porta potties along the way that will support the gravel route riders. We got a lot of good feedback last year about the gravel route and where we needed to improve. We listened, and we are providing extra support for gravel riders. There will be a dedicated SAG support vehicle just for gravel riders, and dedicated food, water, and nutrition along the way, along with porta potties. So we think that's really going to improve this, and I think a lot of folks are really going to enjoy this gravel route. I'm not a gravel rider, but I know people who are, and they are passionate about it, and I've got a very passionate team of volunteers who are defining this route, and I think that if you're a gravel rider, it's going to be a great tour. The 4-day West. The 4-day West is longer miles, and we also offer a century option each day on the 4-day West. This one begins on Thursday at the Michigan State Pavilion, and it goes, as you can see, it goes to Vestaburg, Lake City, East Jordan, and Mackinac City. There's some pretty challenging kind of routes along here. We've got a lot of options for different routes around some of the difficult areas. It's a little bit lower cost, $340 for the 4-day tour. All the same amenities and all the same things you get with the tour. And I mention this on every slide because it's important. I didn't mention it verbally yet. We do monitor road conditions very closely and make sure that we are not running into any road construction or problems on the roads. We have a team of volunteers who do that and look at all those routes and make sure that everything is good on all of our routes. For those who cannot take a full 5 days off to ride the DALMAC, we do offer a 3-day ride. The 3-day tour starts on Friday, August 29th at Gladwin High School. You take yourself up to Gladwin. We have a full rider registration and rider check-in operation at the high school in Gladwin. Gladwin's a nice little town. They love to see us there. I had an opportunity to meet with the mayor last year, and she's very excited about DALMAC coming to Gladwin, and we get a very warm reception there. So if you really can't handle a full 5 days because of work or other obligations, you might want to think about this 3-day option. It's a lot of fun. So you start out in Gladwin, and you go on the first day to Inland Lake Schools. I'm sorry, I got this wrong. 3-day, no, that's right. To Inland Lake Schools, and it is a really nice tour for if you don't have a lot of time. $260 for that one. We also have the 2-day East and the 2-day Trail. These routes, again, are for people who don't have a lot of time or you don't want to ride on the road. We have an all-trail option. You can start out up north and ride on the trail or on the road or on gravel if that's your choice. And this one is our lowest cost option with a registration fee of $180. So we think that's a bargain and it really fits well. We have a lot of families, a lot of kids who join us on this particular tour, this route, because it is affordable and it's very friendly. The terrain is quite flat up north on the trails. So it's a really good choice if you just want the DALMAC experience, but are not in for the full 5 days or even 3 days. So let's talk a little bit about the DALMAC gear this year. This year we have some beautiful jerseys. These are available for purchase when you register for the tour. You can buy these. These are $75 for the jersey, and we do have women's sizing and short sleeve and long sleeve jerseys. We have our traditional long sleeve t-shirt. I love these things. I wear these all winter. Again, these are available at registration for $25, and you take delivery of all the clothing when you check in for the tour, whether it's in East Lansing, Gladwin, or Grayling. We also have the DALMAC short sleeve t-shirt. Same thing. Again, this is very popular. We've already sold a lot of these. And this year we're offering a cycling cap that we think is going to be a big seller. That's a really nice looking cap, a traditional cycling cap. This is from our Jersey vendor Primal. They're a really nice product. And finally, we have a tech t-shirt for $35. It's a kind of technical fabric. It's not cotton. It's a breathable technical fabric. And again, you can buy this at registration for $35. Well, let's go into a little more detail about what you can expect on the road and how it all works. And as I mentioned earlier, we do provide SAG vehicles to assist you on the road. We have some rules about SAG. SAG is not an Uber service. We look for people who are in trouble. We ask cyclists who are in trouble to tap the top of their helmet if they are in trouble, and our SAG drivers, as they're going by, will stop and assist. They have basically, we're looking for people who have a mechanical breakdown or a physical concern. You're just too tired or you've fallen and injured yourself. We will provide you with water, a first aid kit, and a bicycle pump. If you have a flat tire, we hope that you've come well equipped and have a fresh tube and a pump with you. But if you don't, we do carry a bicycle pump. We do not provide first aid assistance. If you are injured and need a bandage, we do have a very complete, up-to-date first aid kit in every SAG vehicle, and we would give you the bandages or whatever it is you need to patch yourself up and on your way. If your issue is of greater concern medically, then we will call 911 and have the emergency services respond to that issue. Again, we are not in the business of patching you up, but we have the stuff to help you get patched up. We are having a lot of fun, our SAG drivers. Some of them have been around for many, many tours. They have a lot of fun out on the road. I met Pat and his wife, Robin, when they were SAG drivers one year, and that was a tremendous amount of fun. We enjoyed some crazy music and laughter, and so the SAG folks are great. They love this tour, and they love to help their fellow cyclists. So as I mentioned, we try to do our best to make sure the roads are all good. We do work with local road commissions and municipalities to make sure the roads are good, that we know what the conditions are. We monitor those conditions and we make sure that the roads are good. If there is a route change, we have two primary means of navigation on the tour. One is the Ride with GPS system, which we encourage you. It's provided to you at no cost. As a DALMAC participant, you have access to Ride with GPS at no cost. If you already have a Ride with GPS, You can use it to do all the navigation on the tour. We also print a very, very fine and detailed route map booklet that has everything you need to know about navigation in there. If we do have a road change, a result of construction or washout or something going on, we will print, if we know in time, we will print a page to put in the map booklet. But more often, we would make a change live to the Ride with GPS software, which would then reroute you automatically on Ride with GPS to a different route or a different option on that route. So we spend a lot of time examining our routes and making sure that we are providing the service navigationally that you need. This year, some years back, we had a very well established relationship with a lot of businesses along the way and places that we like to stop for lunch and ice cream or a beverage of some kind. And the pandemic kind of, like a lot of things, the pandemic sort of set us back. Well, this year I've got a group of terrific volunteers who are reviving our comprehensive list of stops and amenities along the way. Those amenities are going to be listed in Ride with GPS so that as you look at your map and you're on your route, you can quickly determine what's coming up next. A good place for lunch, a great ice cream cone, or whatever you're looking for, a gas station for water, all those kinds of things will be listed. We also have some volunteers this year we are calling our route ambassadors. And those ambassadors are going to be, before the tour starts in August, they're going to go and visit the majority of these stops and give them a sign that says DALMAC spoken here. So if you're riding along and you spot a business and there's an orange sign in the window that says DALMAC spoken here, those folks have been informed of our presence and that we're coming through, and they're ready to receive you as a customer. It's very important that we support our businesses along the way because that really improves the relationship with the community, makes people happy that we're coming through, and we encourage you to stop at our local businesses for lunch and for breaks. There's some great places along the way. We also have some traditional stops, amenities. One of the most inviting is what we call the Leonard Provencher Memorial Pie Stop. Lenny was a dear, dear friend of all of us personally. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he pioneered a pie stop at a church in East Boardman, and they pull out all the stops. The ladies and the men, they make sandwiches and pies and pies and pies, and it is a very popular stop. They count on us coming through. They don't charge much for the pie, but it's delicious, and we really help them out, and they help us by serving some great pie. There's some other traditional stops along the way. We have our lunch that we very often stop. A lot of folks stop on the 5-day west route at Lake George at a campground there. They really put on a wonderful cookout with hamburgers and hot dogs and baked potatoes and all kinds of things. So you'll learn about these things as we go along. There are some wonderful stops along the way, and the community is happy to see us. And we know you'll enjoy some of those stops. As I said, we provide a cookie stop for each route. One of the happy jobs that I have is doing taste testing of cookies to determine the best cookies that we're going to have. We generally have a nice assortment of cookies, including some gluten-free ones for those who need that. My personal favorite are the molasses cookies. Those are terrific, and we look forward to having those cookie stops. We have a team of a couple of folks who take care of that and provide cookies and generally lemonade and water at the cookie stop. That's a really important stop to make, and thank those folks for their help on that. As I said, the commercial businesses know we're coming. Make sure you patronize them and let them know that we're through there and that they really appreciate our business. We place, the number is big. I think we're probably close to 100 porta potties that we place all over the state at our expense to provide you with those facilities at various rest stops. As I mentioned, for gravel riders, we will have dedicated porta potties on the gravel route as well. since the gravel routes very often don't go through much of anything in terms of towns or facilities. So you get a lot from us. We do provide all of these things. So what happens if the weather is bad? That would really be unfortunate, and it's happened. I've ridden in some rain. I've bailed out in an almost snowstorm. Um, and if you're from Michigan, you know that we can have hot, cold, in between anything at the end of August and early September. We hope for the best. We want winds from the south and 75 degrees, but unfortunately, it's not always that way. If it rains, the ride goes on. We do our best to move people into the next camping location. We do not have enough resources to move everybody. We request that if the weather gets bad, you take shelter. We do have indications on the maps of where there is shelter if the weather is really bad. Um, and if you're not willing to ride in the rain, you need to take shelter, wait for it to pass. We will do our best to get you to the next campsite. But one of the things you got to expect on a bicycle tour, particularly a camping bicycle tour, is that you're going to have the unpredictability of weather that could go any way at any time. So I think that's important. Um, we have a dedicated crew of folks who set up camp. At the end of the day, we do set up a headquarters tent at the campsite. That tent will have a volunteer to answer any questions and direct you. The schools that we camp at are very cooperative. They're generally very happy to see us. We provide those schools with a lot of money to host us, and we ask our riders to be very conscious of the fact that they're on school property. We don't allow, obviously, there's no smoking or alcoholic beverages at all allowed on any of the school properties, and the schools appreciate our compliance with that. So far, in the years that I've been doing this, we have not had a school complain about trash or any other problems from our riders. So I'm very proud of that. Our camp crew does their best to set up areas for you to camp. There are some restrictions that will be noted in the map booklet about when you can actually start setting up your tents, because on the early days of the ride, school is still in session, or sometimes the first week of school. So there are still students around, and the schools ask us to wait for school to be let out before we set up our camps. So that's a little bit of a constraint, but we've really have a great relationship with our schools, and we appreciate them. If you're planning on riding an e-bike, we do have an e-bike charging facility. We have a tent that we will set up where you can charge your e-bike. E-bikes are welcome on DALMAC. E-bikes are not welcome inside the school, nor the batteries for e-bikes inside the schools. We made a determination that the risk was too high of having a potential fire from an e-bike or an e-bike battery. So we ask you to not bring the e-bikes into the schools. And in fact, we ask you not to bring any bicycles into the schools. Very often the schools are using their athletic facilities, their gym floors, and they really don't want cleats or bikes inside their schools. We also have, over the years, when I started riding DALMAC, I had basically a cell phone. That was it. Now, folks riding, we sometimes have 4 or 5 different electronic devices that we're carrying with us: a GPS, a rechargeable watch, a cell phone, other kinds of electronics, a music player, whatever else. So we have built and designed some first-rate charging stations that we provide for you to charge up all of your electronic devices overnight. These are built by one of our volunteers who's a brilliant engineer, and they're quite a marvel to look at. He's done a great job of putting those together. And again, I'm going to give a plug for Padres Cycle In. If that taking down the tent, putting up the tent doesn't appeal to you, strongly recommend Padres Cycle In. They have charging stations, and I mentioned they also will do take your baggage for you. So it's chow time. We do provide dinner and breakfast at each overnight stop. The menus vary, but we do try to have something that appeals to most riders. This year, I have engaged a volunteer who is a professional restaurateur who has been consulting with us on the menus. When we do our rider surveys, and of course, you can probably guess that if you ask people, how was the meal? How was the dinner? Uh, a good percentage say, wow, it was great. I loved it. And a good percentage say, wow, it needs improvement. So somewhere in the middle lies what we need to do. But I've taken a close look at our menus and tried to make sure that we are offering the kind of food that you need as an athlete to be fueled up and ready to ride and to refuel at the end of the day. So we're going to be focusing on our dinners to have a nice variety and be heavy in protein and vegetables and some grains, but not a lot of very heavy food late at night when you finish the ride. And then in the morning, we're going to provide a protein heavy and carb heavy breakfast that will allow you to fill up. We'll have a wide variety, and if that's not your diet pattern, that's fine. We will have a terrific variety of food. There are vegetarian options. Unfortunately, we cannot support vegan options at every one of our school stops. There are just too many variables at those school stops. And a lot of the times the meals are being prepared by the band booster kids or somebody like that. So they're not really equipped to do it, but we will do our best to make sure that you have the meal options you want. If you are a vegan, then and we have several on the tour, they generally will bring along a cooler with their vegan food, and they've been able to get along okay. So that's a note on the food. Um, and as I had mentioned earlier, DALMAC is a major source of funds for these marching bands and so on. Uh, the school in Vestaburg that we've been going to for a number of years, we represent the largest share of the budget that they have for some of their extracurricular programs, which that makes me very happy. I'm glad we're able to do that for that school. We like giving back to the community and to our schools. Well, what about the bags? Well, we provide a baggage truck for transporting your tent and gear to each overnight stop and on to Mackinac City. We ask all of our riders to assist the crew with loading and unloading bags because again, we have volunteers who are doing this, and we ask you to give us a hand in putting the bags onto the baggage trucks and unloading at the end of the day. Some riders who come in early generally have the option to do that, if you want to call it an option, but we will press you into service. We do provide large plastic sheets. If it's raining, we put down plastic sheets for the bags, and then we cover all the bags with plastic in case we do have rain. We do have a 2-bag limit. The no bag can be more than 45 pounds per bag. They will be weighed during the initial loading, and there is a fee of $35 for additional bags. We've had to be a little bit more strict on this lately because a couple of years ago, it took 2 of us to move a bag off a truck. I think they must have had an entire camping gear in there. It was pretty amazing, but it was way more than 45 pounds. So we decided we needed to make sure that folks knew that we did have a limit on that. So in the end, you're going to arrive in beautiful Mackinac City at the tip of the mitten. You'll load your bike on the trucks for transportation back to your starting point. So if you began the ride on the five day or the 4-day, you began in East Lansing, and your bike will be taken back to East Lansing to the pavilion. If you started in Grayling or Gladwin, your bike will be taken back to Grayling or Gladwin, respectively. We also will board the bus. I started this out with saying the DALMAC runs on time, and we mean it. The buses leave promptly at their posted times, and we encourage you to think carefully about which bus time you select. We have a 3 o'clock and a 6 o'clock bus time, and you need to be there and on that bus and the bike loaded before that time, an hour before that time. So we will not wait for anybody. I hate to say that, but we're nice. if there's something happening and you've had a little bit of a problem, we'll find you a way home, but don't count on it. We really want you to be on the bus. A lot of folks get on the bus and go to sleep, enjoy a box lunch that is included. And you also, while you're on the ride, on the bus, you'll receive an email from me asking you to fill out the rider survey. So pay attention to those bus times. You'll receive a lot more information about this. And there's a wealth of information about all these details on the DALMAC website. So if you have any questions about these things, you can go to the DALMAC website. There is a link there to download for you the rider manual, the rider handbook. Strongly encourage you to go to the rider handbook, download that and read that, because it's really important to understand all the rules and regs that we've got in place and the responsibilities that you have as a rider and what we provide. So I want to promote some other rides. We have other rides going on that that are not ours, but these are cooperating rides. We call them DALMAC training rides that are a lot of fun. It's kind of get you started and get you moving toward the DALMAC. The Zootamac, May 16, 17, goes from Boyne Highlands to Mackinac City. I'm actually going to be riding that this year. It's a 51-mile ride up through the tunnel of trees on the west coast of Michigan up to Mackinac City. It's going to be a lot of fun. There are thousands of riders who take part in that. I'm looking forward to riding that one. And again, that is a DALMAC training ride. On the 17th of May, there's the Alma Glen Gravel Ramble, which is an all gravel route that takes place in Alma and roads around Alma. And that's another DALMAC training ride. And for the people who are interested in getting kind of exposed to some of the gravel roads up that way, that's a good one to join. And these folks would love to see you. The Pedal Across Lower Michigan, the Palm Ride, starts on June 21st. That's another ride that we consider a training opportunity for DALMAC. That's a terrific ride. I know I've not done Pedal Across Lower Michigan. I know a lot of people who have and really enjoy the ride, and I think that would be a fun one to participate in. The Pedal and Whine Ride is going to take place in Albion, Michigan, just south of Lansing, and on August 2nd. I'm going to be riding in that one. It's a really fun ride. It's short, medium, and long out and back routes from Albion, from the Albion Malleable Brewing Company. And the registration includes a lunch at the end of the tour. So that's a fun one. And then the Ossenmacher 100 is August 17th. That is another DALMAC training ride. This is a great one. A lot of folks do the Ossenmacher. It has more options than just a century. It is also some short, medium, and long out and back routes from the Ossenmacher 100. And again, if you want to get a ride in, that's a good one to join. And of course, if you live in the Tri-County regional area of Lansing, the Tri-County Bicycle Association, we host every week throughout the summer literally dozens of rides of various abilities and terrains, and we encourage you to join those rides if you live in this area and get some practice in and meet some folks. A lot of folks who ride DALMAC are also going to be riding on those TCBA rides. Well, I have come to the end of my presentation. I am going to unmute you folks. And oh, I see we have an important guest just arrived, the president of Tri-County Bicycle Association. And Patrick, I'm now allowed you to unmute yourself. So if you'd like to unmute and ask a question, please feel free to do so. Pat Kelly, welcome.
Hi, Dan. Great job today. And Pat number 7, we have a number of Pats in our organization, and I'm Pat number 2 for a variety of reasons that we'll need to talk about here. But nonetheless, I've answered some of the questions people have asked. They're great questions, and welcome to all the first timers. I saw some folks that have done RAGBRAI. this is a lot different than Ragbri, Delmac is, although it's similar, but things are much more organized and you have a place to camp and you have food every night and every morning without issue. That's one of the, and showers. You don't have to worry about showers. So the camping is camping. It's a tent you bring or you get the tent service. So anyway, great questions that were asked, and I hope that you all enjoy it. And welcome to Delmac.
So there was a question about where can you get a detailed map. The detailed maps are available on the website, dalmac.org. If you go there and look at the routes, I can actually share that. I'll share my screen and show you that on the website so you can see what we're talking about there. Um, so if you go over here to this rates and services or routes, rates and gear, you'll see the various routes here. Are you seeing my screen, by the way? Seeing the website? One of the Pats?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, so you can go to the route and you'll see here this overview map. And then right here, you can look at the actual detailed map. These are the drafts of the actual maps that you will be receiving as part of your registration. So I issued the warning that these in fact are draft because we are still working on making sure these are all the correct routes. But this will give you an idea. You can download these and peruse these at your leisure, but that's where you can see those maps.
Also, this year, no road signs, or no road painting.
Right,
So,
right. It's all GPS, private GPS, and these maps will be your primary navigation. Any other questions?
I had a question about tarps at night.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So when I did Ragbri, the group I was with, there was like a big tarp we'd put over bikes. Do we need to bring our own tarp for our bike?
Yes, you need to bring your own covers for your bike. I purchased one that I use, and it's a good idea to do that. We don't provide any tarps. As I mentioned earlier, if you have an e-bike, we do have a sheltered charging area for e-bikes, but you can't leave your e-bike in there overnight. You need to charge it and move it off. But yes, we highly recommend you bring along a bike cover.
Typically dewy in that
Yes.
time of year.
Yep. Other questions? So
I
I'm
wonder,
just curious if you know how to put a thumbs up on your picture, please put a thumbs up if you have already registered for DALMAC. Seeing a few. Yeah, good. 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 Excellent.
awesome, folks.
That's great. I'm very happy to see that. Um, yeah, that's super. So I'm going to assume the rest of you are still, or many of you are still thinking about it. Registration is open now, and it will be open until July 31st. The rates remain the same. We don't change the rates over time. Um, we we think that's a good policy, but join us, please sign up, and we'd love to have you on the ride.
Dan,
Yeah.
somebody just asked the question, do any of the local bike shops rent bikes for Delmac?
Um, there are some limited options. We recommend that you talk to one of the bike shops in town. Just do a search for bicycle shops Lansing. There are several good shops. I can give you my personal preference, but that doesn't not necessarily what you should do. But I have Denny's Central Park Bike is my shop. Spin Bicycle is another good shop. You can call and see if they do have rentals. They may have a limited number. I had a writer ask me for if there was anybody that would rent e-bikes, and I made an inquiry about that. And unfortunately, there are no shops that can rent e-bikes for that length of time. Pat Harrington, you had a comment?
We do have an agreement with bikeflights.com, can be found under services on our website for shipping. I am not directly aware, but we do have a list of all of the bike shops if you need it. There's about 10 shops in town, 8 to 10 shops.
Yep.
Get in touch. And Dan, you're getting another question for where do we find the maps on Ride with GPS? Can you go over that section, please?
So the maps are not yet posted to Ride with GPS. They will be posted probably 3 days in advance of the ride because those maps are still being developed on Ride with GPS. The maps you can look at right now are the ones you see that I'm sharing on my screen, which include all of the routes. When you go here, if you're interested in the Century route, for example, you can look at that map online. But the Ride with GPS maps will not be available until we've finished the programming of them.
Well, and also we want to make sure that all the roads are open before we put out the Ride with GPS,
Exactly.
which is the last iteration of our map.
Right.
We do recommend you carry your paper book in case your electronics were to fail.
Yeah.
And we do ask if you call the SAG support number that you know where you are.
So we have a webinar that will be dedicated solely to navigation and how to receive service on the ride. That webinar will occur in July. That will give you a lot more detail about the procedures and processes of the ride. This webinar was mostly for an overview, but we will drill down into a whole lot of detail later on and encourage you to sign up for those future webinars to talk about all the detail regarding navigation. And our navigation expert, our map maker, our master of all things maps, Dave Mansfield will be a guest, and he will talk you through all you need to know about Ride with GPS and how to use the maps.
And if you should miss that one and you do need a SAG during the day, tap the top of your head. That is our universal sign.
Yep.
If you wave at the SAG, they will think you're real friendly and wave back. If you smack your helmet, they will stop for you. Thanks.
Any other questions? You can put them in the chat or unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, Ride with GPS is a learning curve, but Dave's tutelage, you will get it because Dave directed me and I got it.
You guys will all do fine. You need to understand there's 7 or 8 routes, and you need to know where your splits are because we're using the same roads for the following day's tour as the other routes are coming through. So do be paying attention. Don't just follow the bike in front of you unless they're going to your camp. Your colored wristband is the key.
I have to tell you a personal story on myself about following the rider in front of you. This was probably 2008, 2009, and I was coming into Mackinac City on US 31. There was a turn right before Mackinac City to head off into a lesser used road and then in the back way to the high school to line up to go across the bridge. And I missed that turn. And when I looked up, I was on Interstate 75, heading toward the bridge on Interstate 75. And I pedaled like mad on 75. Luckily, it's downhill from that exit on into Mackinac City. And I raced down the hill. I got off the next exit. Trucks going by, it was terrifying. And I stopped at the stoplight at the end of the ramp, and 4 guys pulled up next to me and said, "Where are we? What happened?" I said, "Well, you followed me, and that was a mistake because I did not make the turn." but we survived, and it was a good story for the DALMAC history books.
For new riders, you will likely always be near or with people on the DALMAC routes. You're rarely alone unless you're very fast or very slow. And if you're average, there are a lot of people all the time. So, and routes are, 3 routes are together on the first day until a different point. So you need to pay attention to the color wristband you have and the color wristband of the people you're with to make sure you're all going to the same stop that night.
It's all part of the fun.
Yeah. The other thing I would recommend new people do is ask, have you done DALMAC before when you're riding along, and what did they like? Where did they stop? How come they like the stop there instead of wherever? And find out what other people have done in the past. Many of us have done DALMAC for years and have our favorite places. So talk to people, be social.
Any other questions that I can answer?
Question about the end of the day. Concerns getting showered up and then having dinner. Is there a lot of congestion as far as getting to a shower? And is there a narrow window in which we can get dinner and all that? Is there a best practices that you would recommend on that? I'm a first time rider.
Okay, how fast of a rider are you? What's your pace?
Oh, I'm going to be poking along.
Okay, so there's the crowding of the showers corresponds to the pace of the riders. So there are folks who are cooking along at 17, 18 miles an hour. They're in camp early and they've cleared the showers. Then there's the middle group and they get their shower. And then there's the slow pokes like me, that when I get there, there's not a crowd because I'm generally
Okay.
last. The showers, yes, there can be some congestion, but they are locker room showers that are used to athletic teams, so there's quite a bit of space.
Okay.
The dinner lines, there are some lines for dinner, but it's a great time to socialize and visit. And we also have a rider meeting at the dinners every night. So I think you'll enjoy it, and it's not terribly inconvenient.
So definitely shower cleaned up prior to dinner would be the likely scenario there.
Yeah, very likely. Although not
Okay.
everybody does that. Some folks, I see folks coming in their riding gear, and
Okay.
then shower up afterwards. The restrooms facilities, we have agreements with the schools. The restrooms are open 24 hours, including the showers. So if you want to wait and shower after dinner, you can certainly do that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I have a question. I already registered, and so I'm trying to find Padres Circle on there. How do I get in there? I don't want to register again.
You're trying to find what now?
Padres.
Oh, Padres. Okay, let me show you on my screen here. If you go over here under rates and services,
Uh-huh.
and you scroll all the way to the bottom,
Okay.
you see that right there? Padres cycle in.
Okay, great. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mitchell, I think you were asking about the order or how long it takes. Sometimes there are lines for the shower. Most people get in, grab their bags, set their tent up, then shower, then eat, and then rest. But people do it in all kinds of different ways. So you'll kind of find your own way, what works best for you. Some people are really tired when they get in and it's a nice day, so they lay in the sun, eat dinner, then take a shower, then set up their tent. It just, there is no order that has to be done, except you want to make sure you get in for the meal, and the lines move fast. You're not in line long. So
Great. All right.
Hope that helps.
That does help. Thank you, Pat, number 2.
Other questions? Well, we have 5 minutes to go. I do try to keep this to an hour to respect everybody's time. And so any last minute questions would be appreciated. Uh, if you have not yet registered for DALMAC, it's a great time to do that. I hope we've given you enough information. If you have specific questions you'd like to pose, you can send me an email at director@dalmac.org, and I will do my best to respond to any individual questions that you might have. We appreciate you being first-time riders, and if you have not yet signed up, we look forward to seeing you on the tour. It's going to be a great one this year, and if there are any other questions, let's hear them now. Otherwise, we will call it an evening.
Great job, Dan. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Bye, everyone. Good luck and have fun.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Okay, thank you folks very much. Remember, this is a recorded meeting. If you want to go back and review more information, I will be sending a link to the recordings to all of you. And I very much appreciate you being with us tonight. Thank you. And join us for another future webinar, and we'll see you on the road. Thanks much.